What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put it on all so you get notified of all the latest content as and when we drop it. So let's get into this one. So as we know, as all the boxing fans and probably even non-boxing fans around the world will know, it is Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk. That should be next, but this is Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, and now I'm going to talk about the fight that is probably going to be, in my opinion at least, this for me is going to be the best on the card, and this fight is probably going to steal the show, and that is Fabio Wardley defending his British title against David Adelaye, or Adelaye, however we pronounce it. So those two are going to be doing battle, and there's been a lot of needle in the lead up to this fight. There was the altercation that everyone should know about by now. I think Adelaye even approached Wardley at a press conference even before the incident happened, and was approaching him about wanting to fight him for the British title before the Fraser Clark thing happened. And then this time at the press conference, one of David Adelaye's acolytes, one of his friends, his crew, his entourage, they had a bit of friction between members of Fabio Wardley's teams. A big argument ensued. Fabio Wardley walks over to David Adelaye. David Adelaye pushes Wardley. Then as Wardley's, I think he's looking at Adelaye to go after him, one of Adelaye's team, actually, I think he elbows or punches Fabio Wardley, and Wardley goes down and then jumps back up and turns into a bit of a brawl. Wardley gets cut, and up until the last little press conference they had, you could still see, and I think the face-off could still see that there's a bit of scarring, there's a bit of a cut on Wardley's face still now to this day. So, well, I haven't seen the media stuff today, but anyway, so yeah, there's needle in this fight. There's a bit of beef there between these two guys. They're both from different backgrounds. Adelaye's a London boy. He feels he's the hard man. He feels he's the street guy, and he's been, trying to sort of intimidate Fabio Wardley. Fabio Wardley is a lot more calm, more measured, and he's just like, well, this is just about the boxing. I'm not intimidated by you. I'm the champion. And they went back and forth a bit. The face-off was quite interesting, and the thinking of the bookies going into this fight seems to be that Fabio Wardley is the favorite. But I'm hearing amongst a lot of other boxing vloggers, YouTubers and people like that, pundits and those in the know, that a lot of people are picking David Adelaye as well. And that is because Adelaye is quite a well put together boxer. I would say out of Wardley and Adelaye, that Adelaye is a bit more well schooled. He's the man that's had the better amateur background, so he, in the terms of how he puts his shots together, how he stands is quite correct. Everything he does is quite correct, quite upright. The thing with Adelaye, though, I would say, is that a lot of the time in his fights he doesn't tend to move his head, so he's going to have to fix that going in there with Fabio Wardley. Whereas Wardley, for his part, he comes from a different background. He comes from a white collar background, which is very low level, sort of amateurish boxing. It's the type of boxing where if you've got like a corporate job, let's say you work in an office, you could go and have a white collar fight or two, and you step in there against, I don't know, your boss or someone else from that background. A good friend of mine, my other friend from the channel, I think he's had a few amateurs, and he done a white collar. So it's one of those things, it's open to pretty much everybody. It's not really properly regulated, but that was Wardley's background going into this, and of course he's had plenty of time sparring Dillian White and sparring some good pros on his way up, and he's done very well for himself as Fabio Wardley. And the one thing we can say about him he's got going in his favor is he's got that fire in his belly. There's been several fights where he's been wobbled, he's been hurt, he's been troubled a bit, even against Nathan Gorman, although he won that fight, took Gorman out. He did have some troubles in that fight, and there's been several fights of Fabio Wardley's where he's been in trouble. I think against Nick Webb as well, same sort of thing. Gets in a bit of trouble, gets wobbled a bit, And he always, when he gets hurt, when he gets wobbled, that's when he's at his most dangerous, and that's when he comes swinging and firing back on people. And thus far, no one's been able to really stop him. So he's shown vulnerability in fights, has Fabio Wardley, but he's shown the ability though to dig deep in fights, and whenever it's come to the crunch, whenever it's come to time for his heart to be tested, for his mettle to be tested, he's always passed the test with flying colours. So he's a good boxer. He's quite elusive. He likes to set you up with the jab, then land a big right hand. He's aggressive, and he likes to counter you as well. Adelaye does things correctly as well. He's quite an aggressive fighter, quite textbook and everything, and he carries a bit of pop. I would say, for my money, I reckon Fabio Wardley might actually hit a little bit harder. Adelaye, he hasn't really put much of a foot wrong. The only fight that I will say where, right, this is a problem was against Sokolovsky, where I believe that Sokolovsky actually beat David Adelaye, but Adelaye got the decision. And that was where he was kind of really tested and pushed a bit. And with that one, you could argue he kind of failed the test there. But yeah, for me, this is a fight where it's 50-50. I'm kind of on the fence with it because there's good reasons to go with Adelaye. If Adelaye can approach this fight in a disciplined manner, then he has a very good chance of beating Fabio Wardley if he's just disciplined with everything, works well behind the jab, doesn't bite on everything, doesn't get too overconfident with himself. If he boxes disciplined and he boxes to a very careful game plan, then I think Adelaye has a good chance of doing this. But for me, I just ever so slightly, and you're talking like 51% to 49%, I slightly edge Fabio Wardley. I kind of go with the bookies on this one. I just think the fact that he's been in deep waters, he's been against better opposition than David Adelaye, he's been in trouble in fights, he's had hardship, he's had difficulties, and he's always been able to come through. So he's got the better professional experience, and I think he's got experience going the rounds a few times and stuff and dealing with that better opposition. I just think that experience, the explosive punching power, is just going to carry Fabio Wardley through. I think he's going to be able to stop David Adelaye, probably late stoppage, or it might even surprise us all, because that one thing I think is that he's probably not going to go the distance. But I think this is one of them fights where it will probably be mid to late round stoppage for Wardley, or it may go to points. David Adelaye, at the same time, he's got every good chance of maybe ending this fight by the mid rounds, but I just ever so slightly edge towards Fabio Wardley. Let me know what you think about this fight. I agree, it is kind of a 50-50 fight. There's a lot of people picking Adelaye. I'm on the other side. I'm picking Fabio Wardley to just come back, to go into the trenches and come out on top. That's my pick. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Until next time, it's MKO Pugilism over and out. Catch you on the next vid.